back, everyone, to our next match of the day. It will be Australia versus Germany. Our first player comes all the way from down under. He's the lone Australian representative. Please give a warm welcome to Team Exile 5's PiG. PiG will be going up against a two-time reigning EPS champion. It'll be Team Alternates ShoWTimE. Will it be Australia? Will it be Germany? It's time to find out. Gentlemen, please shake hands. Let's head back to the desk with Sean Apollo-Clark.
Thank you very much, Smix. And I'm quite excited for this one. PiG versus ShoWTimE. First of all, we're going to go have a closer look at PiG and what he thought in the round of 32 and what he thinks for the round of 16 and above.
Out of the players who are left in WCS, who's the most frightening? It's really hard to say because there's a lot of players I don't play on a regular basis. I can't play EU from home, so most of my practice is on Korean ladder where everyone's very anonymous. With the WCS changes really giving me an opportunity to compete overseas at the highest level, it's something which I guess has reinvigorated me in terms of really focusing on playing, and I feel like there's really the opportunity now to commit more to my play. I haven't really given myself a set goal, but I just want to push it as far as I can. Every single tournament, I just want to play my best. As long as I play well, it doesn't matter too much if I win or lose. It's just about me feeling confident and happy with how I perform.
And that was PiG, and we all remember in the round of 32 what an excellent performance he had. Turned it around with the first game, a loss versus Happy, then a win versus Targa, and then the rematch victory over Happy to see himself on his debut make it to the top 16. And here we are in the top 16, live in Poitiers, France. Fenner, being an Australian yourself, give us your thoughts on PiG and the achievements that he's got being here.
All right, PiG. Extremely strong player within Australia. He won WCS Oceania, I think. He got top 3 in the next one in 2012, which was quite a while ago now. But since then, he's been doing really well in a lot of the weekly Australian tournaments. We have a lot of weekly Australian tournaments in Australia that don't get much attention, a lot of things like that. And he does really well in the WCS qualifiers as well. But when he comes over to international events, for some reason, he seems weak. And he says it's because of jet lag and things like that. This time, he come over a week early, so he's got no problems with that. He's in the perfect condition right now to do well.
Guys, what do you think about this then? I mean, like Fenner said, he's been here for a week. He's gotten rid of that jet lag. He's had time to practice on the European server. And most importantly for Australians too, is play without latency issues as well and gotten used to that on the European server. What do you think is going through PiG's mind coming into this, a massive stage, the highest accomplishment in his StarCraft 2 career? What do you think about PiG?
I mean, it's a little bit of a Cinderella story almost, because PiG is the kind of guy that you want to cheer for him and you want him to succeed, because you know that if he does win, it's almost like you win, you know, because he's just a really fun guy to cheer for. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I don't think it's going to be a matter of jet lag. It's going to be a question of raw skill, and that's what it is. And ShoWTimE is really good. Like, ShoWTimE is one of those Protoss players that if you talk with any other European pro right now, you ask like, hey, who are the best Protoss players in Europe? Lilbo, Austin, ShoWTimE. Like, that's pretty much what all of them say. So this is going to be very hard. It's not a question of jet lag. It's not a question of like how good is he going to play. Is it going to be enough? Like, it's just like, is he better than ShoWTimE? And that is going to be one hell of a task.
All right, well, Nathan, we'll come to you to talk about ShoWTimE in a second, but let's hear ShoWTimE's thoughts on what he thought went down in the round of 32.
I expected Hydra and me to advance, but I thought I would get second place. I think I was quite lucky he didn't win his first match. Yeah, but other than that, it's pretty much as expected. I think there are a lot of players who are very strong, but I wouldn't say they scare me. But out of my head, I would say maybe Snoot, Bunny, and the Koreans are really strong. I think my biggest strength is that my playstyle has become quite versatile. In the past I was pretty predictable, I would say. So yeah, I worked on that and it's one of my biggest strengths now. People should cheer for me because I'm a 2-time CPS champion.
ShoWTimE, 21 years of age from Germany, made the train trip over here to France to compete in the top 16 of the WCS Premier League Season 1 finals. Nathanius, you covered his games in the round 32.
He's a solid guy. Like when I talk to players, like I spent a lot of time with the Muslim, and he's one of those guys. Like I was saying, pretty much about Cyril, where when you run into him, he's one of the toughest opponents that you're going to be going up against. And to an extent, there's the obvious very good mechanical player, but I was also able to cover a lot of his games super recently. In Fragbite, his PVZ especially was pretty sharp. He had most difficulty, and I believe was knocked out by Terran players in that tournament.
Yeah.
So. Not as much of an issue, of course, for this matchup, and moving forward in the tournament, it's not like he has to really worry about that for this group playing against a Terran. And for PVZ, a lot of it is just going to come down to getting the control. He had really good responses, especially to Snoot's curious plays in the Fragbite group stage, and it doesn't really seem like anything weird is how you're going to catch him off guard. Like, you got to play straight up. You got to play straight up versus ShoWTimE.
Well, how does ShoWTimE like to play? If the best way to play against him is straight up, how do you think that ShoWTimE's going to approach this, and what have you seen from him in the past?
What I've seen from ShoWTimE is, as he said, he used to be really predictable. I had a look at his games, and what I saw was he does something completely different every single game now. So he's changed up his game a lot. As he said, like in one of the games, he went for a 2-base all-in, then he went for a fake third and went for some aggression, then he went for a 3-base. So every single kind of style he's gone for. You can't predict what this guy's going to do, and that makes him extremely hard to play against. What do you do against someone who can do everything?
I totally agree with that, but I think there is one thing that ShoWTimE has to be a little bit careful of or cautious with, is that he doesn't get carried away. Something that you guys were talking about with Snoot as well, and like trying to be not predictable, because being predictable is obviously not a great thing in StarCraft, but if you're just really, really good at executing the most solid playstyle, which is the most solid playstyle for a reason, that it doesn't really fall too far behind against anything, I think that is okay, and ShoWTimE shouldn't go too crazy and think too far out of the box when he goes up against someone like PiG. That I think, in all honesty, ShoWTimE gets better practice than PiG, and I think he's been posting better results. So ShoWTimE shouldn't be freaking himself out. He played good in the round of 32, but I actually don't think that he played to his fullest potential. I think ShoWTimE is better than how he played in the round of 32, and today he has to show like what he's truly made of and why he's getting so much love from all his colleagues in the European scene.
Well, Vani Research Station, Overgrowth, and Deadwing are the 3 maps that we're going to be going to in this series. How does this make the matchup feel for you?
Vani first, and then
Overgrowth and Deadwing.
Pretty straightforward map. It's the exact same map actually as Snoot versus Max said. I don't think that changes a whole lot. I would say Vani is the one where it should be the most standard straight up, maybe Nexus first into a gateway, and we'll just take it from there. I don't think anything too crazy about these maps.
All right, so very quick. I want each of you to give me an answer here. Nathanius, starting us off. I know it's always great to start off these type of questions. What is the key to victory for PiG? What is key to victory for ShoWTimE?
I really like that you guys mentioned the issue of latency, et cetera, for PiG being able to actually play on a server without worrying about that, without having to have that influence his strategies. And for PiG, he's just got to bring his A game, because nobody, when I talk about ShoWTimE, says it's like, oh, he's a one-trick pony, right? You guys talking about he does all these sorts of different strategies. He used several different strategies in a lot of his matches throughout the round of 32, but also Fragbite. And I think for ShoWTimE, he just has to play his A game, not get carried away with any crazy build order decisions he makes to be unpredictable. But PiG just has to be able to play up to his level, because ShoWTimE's definitely a favorite in this match.
Key to success, Roddy, for both players?
ShoWTimE, I would say just solid, and PiG, I would say try to surprise him.
And Fenner, what do you think?
I'd go with the same. ShoWTimE, just play his game, deny the scouting and everything like that. For PiG, be on top of the scouting, figure out what ShoWTimE is doing, figure out all the nuances in ShoWTimE's play, and capitalize on it, because PiG's got some really good Swarmos play. And something actually we didn't mention for PiG is he's really tenacious in the late game. He's one of those players who never gives up. If he's down to like 10 drones, he'll keep on playing, fight until the end. There's something people don't know about PiG. He's always going to keep on.
And fighting. Every match, super important. You've got Snoot to play in the winner's match. You've got Maxed, who's dangerous to play in the loser bracket. Is it going to be an easier way towards the round of 8, or is it going to be very difficult to climb through that low bracket?
I mean, it's definitely not an easy group, but I do think that this is a group that both PiG and ShoWTimE look at and think, well, if I'm ever going to make it to the round of 8 of WCS Premier League, then this is probably the run. Like, I can do this over here. Maxed is a beatable opponent. Snoot is very dangerous.
Yeah.
But they probably think of each other. I can beat that guy, and that makes it a really awesome series for us.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys, for your input once again. It's time to show you this game between these two players. Germany versus Australia in PiG versus ShoWTimE.
Two realms collide here as PiG and ShoWTimE, who come from very, very different backgrounds, very different locations, are going to face off against one another. And for me, I'm very excited to see how ShoWTimE's going to do. Obviously, he comes in as a favorite. And against Zergs recently, he's looked fantastic in the Fragbite Masters, defeating Yun, defeating Snoot, barely going up against Solkey in that 2-3 series in favor of Solkey. ShoWTimE's been looking nice in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he did lose to Solkey cross-server, though, but Solkey is Solkey, and up against somebody like PiG here, I do agree that I think he's going to be the favorite, but PiG is somebody who wants it so bad here. Like, it really showed even in his emotions after winning in the round of 32. He was overwhelmed with emotions. Like, it really showed quite easily. So he's been preparing very hard for this, so has been ShoWTimE, and man, I can't wait to see what these two are going to be playing here up against each other. ShoWTimE, he's one of those very strong Protosses, you know, that takes a third base, that pushes at the same time, and that will take accordingly, depending on what they're facing, Scout with Hallucinations. Whereas PiG, you know, he had a little bit of a Muta patch, then he went into a Swarmos one, and it's going to be interesting to see which one of these routes here he picks to use up against somebody like ShoWTimE.
Yeah, I think there's the potential we could see quite a bit of swarm host play here from PiG going into this series. Our first map will be Vanny Research Station, a good map for it here to try and get that going. But against ShoWTimE, a guy that has been able to vary up his styles wildly, just plays a solid game overall. It's going to be interesting to see if he can actually rival that. And I still, regardless of PiG going down the Swarm Host route, would give ShoWTimE the edge here.
ShoWTimE has actually been doing a lot of gate on 13, followed by a Nexus, you know, without a gas, and then doing 3 gates, 1 Forge, getting his +1 going, but at the same time doing big pressures and pushes. Making sure he can get some damage in. If he gets in trouble, he can recall out. If the Zerg's too greedy, he's going to punish him with great force fields and positioning. Back when he played against Snoot in Fragbite, it was a lot of that. Actually, on Vanny Research Station, you know, that third base that you can take on the left-hand side, whether you're at top or bottom, that's where he was attacking Snoot. And he did a lot of damage, propelled himself in the game in a good position, and then from there, it's very hard to beat this guy, ShoWTimE. But PiG, he's had quite a bit of time, actually, to think about this match, to prepare for it. And he sounded kind of confident, actually. Like, he's been tweeting, I'm going to slay some nerds, I think, or something like that, previously, when talking about his matches.
He's always a happy guy, so even if he wasn't too confident, you know, he exudes, you know, a slight, you know, sense of humor as well sometimes here and there. And that might be down to that, but regardless, I think he's, you know, he has prepared a lot, and even now he's smiling. We're going into this game, so a very joyful character in PiG.
I mean, yeah, he's an all-around nice guy. Most Zergs are, actually. I've always found that Zergs are like the friendliest players, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Protoss.
Not Protoss? I was going to say.
No. Okay, Protoss, between Protosses, we're like a brotherhood. But Zergs, all around nice guys, most of the time. There's a few exceptions, not going to name any names, Lars.
All right, okay. So, very soon we'll be getting into this best of 3. Vanny Research Station, as I said before, will be our first map. Overgrowth is the second, and then I believe Deadwing if we need it. These 3 maps, very popular right now in these best of 3 situations. No surprises there, as people really starting to favor these kind of maps in this map pool at the moment. But let's get into it. It's going to be game number 1 here between our European and our Australasian down all the way in the bottom corner of the world during all of this. And let's get into it. Up to the top right, up to the top even, as our blue Zerg. Representing Exile 5, it is PiG. Gentleman that had a good run through the round of 32, able to upset a few there. And down to the south, it is our red Protoss. Representing alternate attacks, it is ShoWTimE. our current reigning EPS champion.
Not quite a multiple EPS champion like Azuops, though. Not everybody is.
No. He's two-time EPS champion.
He's gonna get
but
there eventually.
Yeah, eventually he will be there. He may even surpass him. Who knows? ShoWTimE. People like ShoWTimE actually have a dominant position in Germany at the moment.
ShoWTimE, I fully expect, a Gateway 13, no gas, a Nexus. That's really been the build that is liked a lot, and that he seems to. Oh, actually, misclick on the drones here for PiG. He clicked one mineral with all of his drones for a second. Lost a lot of money doing that.
It's horrible when that happens. It really, as a Zerg player or as any player, you do it and it feels bad, but you just got to get on with it.
He went for a drone scout early on. I wonder if he was actually worried about something, or maybe he wanted to go for a hatch block. Like if you know that a Protoss loves to open with Gateway 13 and then goes for a Nexus, you have the possibility to go for a hatch block at the natural. Is he gonna go for it there? Are we gonna see a Cats build?
Uh-oh.
Kailaris.
Pig.
He's not gonna wait any time to get cheeky. And the thing is, even like seeing that coming here as a Protoss, you're not gonna see it instantaneously. Like right now, ShoWTimE, he needs to scout the natural, see that there is no hatch here, but then he's gonna run to the third base, see that there is no hatch there, check the gold base on the top side, see that there is no hatch there, and he's gonna realize very, very late what is up here.
Yeah.
I see he's rallied that at the gold base.
He may have just rallied it forward. I mean, you see a lot of rallying of these forwards into the main early in this game to catch people off guard, but once he realizes there's no hatchery elsewhere, this Zealot might be across the middle of the map before he even realizes, so he's gonna have to turn back and start working on it.
Yeah, ShoWTimE here needs to figure out ASAP what he's up against, and I mean, we don't even know yet what this is going to be. PiG's running quite a bit of gas.
Yeah, he's off to the goal base now to check that, and he's not going to find anything. This is quite comical here at the moment, to be honest with you, because he's running all over the place. Where's your base? Where's your base? And it's in plain sight at his third base
He's going to go like
location.
quick lair into Swarmost all in, or no? Okay, this is just going to be for speeds.
Okay.
You get the hatch there then. Maybe some kind of spine rush at the bottom of the ramp.
Maybe.
With an overload spotting.
Maybe.
Kill the wall and then run in with my Zerglings. This is definitely something that could be very successful. Yeah, he's going to start it. Okay, that's going to be it. Mass links. He stops mining gas. From now on, it's only going to be about the minerals here. For PiG, who's going to want to bust up that ramp with a lot of Zerglings.
The funny thing is that ShoWTimE went down there, saw that, and if you look at his expression on screen, he barely flinched. So let's see how he's going to be able to deal with this. The Zealot is on the way back. There's already links popping here, though, and he does have the Mothership Core on the way soon. No, he's going to opt to go for a Sentry, cancels that, goes into a Stalker. He needs the... yeah, I think he needed the gas for the Mothership Core. That's very important in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, there is quite a few ways you can answer... against this kind of aggression, and I think if he gets like a lot of cannons behind his pylon that he has, and then makes another pylon obviously to make sure he can keep that powered, ShoWTimE should be fine, but then the links could run in. The thing is, this wall is supposed to come down no matter what, and then the links will be able to run in.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very hard, like to wall from top to bottom here for ShoWTimE. He's not gonna have the money.
Queen started working on the Mothership Core pretty early to then push that back, and it's going to make it all the more hard for it to actually stick around.
The links could get in after that pylon goes down, Kailaris. The sentry.
They need to pop. It needs to pop, but it doesn't get out in time. Here come the links straight onto the probes here. That could do quite a bit of damage. A sentry has been able to force field off that choke point, but at the same time, even the Stalker's low.
Yeah, the gateway is gonna die now. All ShoWTimE can make is more cannons. While he should definitely try and remake another one of those gateways, but Zerglings are gonna run in eventually. He should wait. PiG should wait until he has enough Zerglings, run them in, and then start taking down probes left and right.
And he's going to lose that core as well. That'll slow down any warp gate tech that want to come out later on. But the thing is that actually he lost the gateway, so he needs to make a gateway before he can make a core. Yes. He's going to have very little available to him here. The cannons are holding on, but I don't know how far along. This could just be broken. He's going to get one of the cannons. The probes are off the line. Second cannon's going to get broken as well pretty quickly with that spine crawler now burrowing. Photon Overcharge trying to do what it can, but the Mothership Core is gone. It has nothing left.
Kailaris, all that he has is one single sentry and the Photon Overcharge, which is eventually gonna run out. PiG on 16 rounds. He says, I don't need any more than that. I'm just gonna all-in you in the first game and kill you, and it looks like he might be able to do it.
Spinecrawler just darting out of range there, staying on the high ground as well. There's a few lings down towards that natural. If anything transfers down there, it will be gone. The sentry dies. Man.
I was wondering, why isn't he remaking Mothership Core? Then I remembered, he lost his cybernetics core. GG!
GG! Pig takes game number 1, and I don't think anybody really expected that. He alone exudes this. Yeah,
He's loving it,
impressive.
man.
Yeah.
He's absolutely loving it. A little bit of, a cheesy build here brings him the first win in this match. ShoWTimE, maybe he should have panicked against this. Made I don't know, up to 5 cannons, stop mining gas, not try to start any more sentries, really. Just get mass cannons just to make sure you can kill all the Zergis. Maybe even re-wall. If he can wall top to bottom, next to that gas and Nexus, he's going to be okay. Maybe even stack his natural. Think about it. He's on 20 probes against 16 drones only. He only needs 1 base. He could have walled off, around his Nexus. But then I guess maybe the Spine could have still come forward and sieged. But I don't know. As long as he held a little bit longer, didn't take economic damage, he would have been fine.
I would say he was pretty fortunate to have that entire hatchery complete before it was even noticed, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Zealot had gone down there or noticed it as he was coming out of the base, then it could have been a completely different story. And ShoWTimE there just got to be kicking himself a little bit for how that really played out, because it's not very common nowadays that you see these kinds of things happen.
The thing is, he was even chrono boosting out a Zealot. If he had known about that hatchery...
Exactly.
From very early on, he could have just gone there with 2, 3 Zealots, pulled some probes, make sure he killed it ASAP, in which case, I mean, this is an abort by Pig. There is no way you can still go for that. But very, very risky build here, but that paid off.
Yeah, it did. And that's what those risky builds are designed to do. If you can actually do something like that, catch your opponent off guard, then you get that win. And he is 1 game up in this best of 3. ShoWTimE, arguably the favorite in this series right now, looking a little bit on the ropes. But I'm anticipating him to still bring out a good game here in game number 2. I don't think he's going to get caught off guard by any shenanigans here, making sure he's super steady and ready to get into game number 2 here on Overgrowth.
He was absolutely all in here, by the way. That was 16 drones to 20 probes. You either win right out or you're out of it. Even if you leave the Protoss with 15 probes, he has 2 Nexus, he can chrono boost out more probes, and he's going to be ahead.
All right, well, let's get into it. It's going to be game number 2 on Overgrowth, as Pig from Australia currently leads in this best of 3 series. Very rare an Australian gets to this round in WCS, but Pig is here. As we have spawned down to the bottom left-hand corner, it is our blue Zerg representing Exile 5. It is Pig. Doing some funky strategies there in game number 1, but coming out on top. And then up to the top right, it's our red Protoss. He's an EPS champion, and representing ATN, it is ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE in this game, I'm pretty sure he's going to scout early on again, most likely behind the gateway that he's going to go for at 13. Try and make sure he knows what's up exactly, as in, where's the hatchery, basically, where is it going down? And then from there, well, if he scouts nothing special, he's most likely going to want to play standard as usual. But yeah, after a game like this, you have to be a little paranoid, You're down 1 game. If your opponent does something risky again and you don't see it, you're going to be in trouble, so he's going to scout early on. And no drone scouts, so no hatch block.
ShoWTimE been favoring these gateway openers for a little while as well here in this matchup, just to make sure that he is very, very sturdy. Also propels his tech a little bit forwards before actually getting that Nexus going down. Maybe he can hit something with that. But aside from that, he has been a big proponent of just going 3 Nexus, getting very, very strong, powerful economy behind a heavy gateway force, and then obviously maybe into tech a little bit later on. But he's even done that kind of, Rotterdam mentioned it before, that kind of French Protoss style of very, very heavy Stalker count.
Is that what we call it?
That's what Rotterdam called it, and you were talking about it as well. So was TLO when I was talking to him last week or so. French Protoss style, man. They've got Protoss figured out, a lot of people feel, in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. ShoWTimE going for the FEC cannoning here. I quite like that. He knows that, the Overlord of Pig couldn't figure out on time whether there was a forge or a gateway, so he ended up pulling quite a few drones. Losing 25 minerals, making Pig, I think, lose way more than that. That's always going to be nice.
Yeah.
And then behind this, he gets his 2 gases. He's going to throw down the core. Probably in his wall at the natural, already start working on it. right now, ShoWTimE, this is what he was expecting the first game to go like, you know, some standard play. Definitely did not expect some kind of proxy hatchery and all in.
All right, well, that probe is going to head over to the third base. Check that, make sure it's not there. And from then on out, Cybernate's core will be on the way for ShoWTimE to complete the top first wall off with the pylon down on the glow ground, so he could make a second wall off if he needs it with a few gateways.
You know, like as good as ShoWTimE is, just in general, plus against Zerg, it kind of feels like he's predictable. You know, he has his one main go-to build where he goes into 3 gateways, does pressure while getting +1 in the third base. Whereas PiG, he did his homework. Like the previous game already kind of showed that, you know, the way he executed that build, that's definitely one of the good builds that you can do up against what ShoWTimE's doing. In this game, I feel like this is going to play a big role as well. Like right now, PiG, he knows exactly how ShoWTimE opens and how he's played before in the past when he opened like this. So surely he should be able to anticipate to some extent what's going to be coming here.
Second pylon gets added on so you can complete that wall off with the right pylon coverage, but these 3 Zerglings already are being irritating and might even force the cancellation of this pylon and will. So nice move there by PiG with just his first few Zerglings that were basically designed to push away a pro, but he will lose a few of them haphazardly at the front.
Yeah, Stalker plus Mothership Core, though. Usually ShoWTimE is somebody who likes to get at least, you know, some sentries here and there. He's still getting one behind the one Stalker. We'll see if he goes for the Forge. I'm still pretty sure, you know, he's going to go for the Forge. And the thing about him is that he almost always goes for the 3 gateway pressure no matter what. And if you think about it, it's a very smart play to play the matchup. Like I said before, you can force a lot of units out, recall if you get in trouble. And if the Zerg's too greedy, well, you're going to punish him and kill him.
Yeah, you are. There's the Forge behind it. So this is the standard go-to here for ShoWTimE adds and a little bit more gas on. PiG, meanwhile, though, he's actually going up to 4 queens across these 3 bases. One to
gases should be taken now by PiG here.
Anyway.
You never wait longer than like 6:30, and he's going to take the 2 in the main.
All right, so a little bit more slower pace to this second game in comparison. 3 Overlords will pop very soon here for PiG to free up that supply and just pump his way towards more drones.
ShoWTimE is going to be supply blocked here for the... Oh, never mind. A pylon just finished. I got worried for a second. It's not as bad as me, man.
All good, all good. Well, Zerglings poking forward. Not really sure how much they can get done. That small force will be able to deal with that. But at least the Zerglings... at least the small force of ShoWTimE push those away for that probe to get out there. He's going to escort it towards the third base to get that going.
Yeah, this is, you know, textbook how you want to play the most standard PvZ that you can play when you want to go for a third base. You get a bunch of sentries up, you start scouting with hallucination. You're almost always going to go into +2 and blink. Like the Robo, you don't have to make that early on. Interesting, actually, the wall that ShoWTimE's going for. Rather than going for the pylons below the Nexus, he goes for them on the left-hand side of things here. And the thing is, like PiG, so far, he's done his job. You know, he's droning up. He hasn't made spores when it was going to be completely useless. Like, he's reading this well. He knows the style of his opponent. Again, you know, he's able to anticipate what's happening. Now, what's going to be his game plan? I think he's going to want to go up, you know, to 1 more base, get enough drones for him to be in a good position economically, but not too many at the same time.
Yeah. At the wall that you mentioned at the third base, I'm up in the air about it, because as much as I do like it sometimes, because Zergs try and force their way behind the mineral line with a big concave, sometimes at that third base. Also, you know, if they are going to attack there, you can lose gateways and they just back off. But obviously they're looking for big damage over there. So is PiG going to do something like that? Right now he's got 30 Lings on the way to stop this aggression from doing much at the front. And speed will finish up soon. So unless the force fields are on point, he could lose a bit here.
Yeah, I don't think that PiG plans on being that aggressive. I think PiG would definitely be happy, you know, he's just sitting back, expanding more. Right now it's a lot more about defending. He's getting a spine crawler on the third base, which definitely could help with that. And ShoWTimE kind of chickened out. Rather than staying there, you know, bringing a probe, making a pylon, this was a fake all along. He never planned on being that serious about this push here.
Well, also, I think he saw the extent of the creep past the third base and was like, whoa, all right, maybe I don't really want to be having too much of this, because if the sentry stepped onto creep, there could have been a whole lot of problems there. But he saw the fourth base down to the bottom right, and now he sees the infestation pit just popping.
Yeah, I mean, this is This is gonna get interesting here. Like Pig, ideally on this map, you wanna go into swarm host, at least 10 of them, and then you can decide from there whether you want to go into something like Mutas, or get literally mass swarm host, split the map, play a very slow-paced game, you know, kind of like we saw at some point, you know, when Snoot had reached a high swarm host count back when he was playing up against Maxed. He's really like gonna have a lot of choice to pick from here, and there is, I don't think, much room for mistake, but if he's doing what he's doing right now and letting this army of ShoWTimE get in a scary position on the right-hand side, he could find himself in trouble.
Good warping block off there at the third base as these Lings start going to work on some of the probes up here, but there was another Zealot in that position as well. This army might have to be very, very careful. There is the Mothership Core there to try and recall out. Those Locusts will cause a bit of a hard time, but if he throws down a few more force fields, he could pin those out and try and do a little bit more. He is going to press the issue here.
Yeah, I think he might have to pull back here. He's going to start running out of force fields, and you don't want to lose those very important sentries. Like, they are his main scout right now. You don't want to be making observers to send them in the Zerg base.
It's time to go home.
Yeah, you really entirely rely on hallucination here. So he's going to save a few of them at least, but lost a very few important sentries here, and only killed 3 drones, which are kind of nothing right now.
Pig looking good at the moment, on lockdown, really. His fourth base is pretty much gone unhindered. Of course, he did lose one of the extractors there, but with those swarm hosts potentially moving on forwards, his creep spread's looking all right as well, getting almost past the halfway mark on this map. ShoWTimE is pushing through the middle to try and keep his opponent on the back foot, but he doesn't really have enough units to do that.
Pig cuts swarm host production at 8. He's getting a few overlords right now, and he's getting Zerg missile attack, flyer attacks level 1. So I think there is a good possibility. He wants to go into Mutas. He's actually one of the best players with those Muta transitions. Like, if you don't see it coming and if you let him do it, a lot of the time you're going to be losing. But right now, ShoWTimE's doing something that could do a bit of damage here. He's got Zealots +2 in the main.
Oh, he
wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, he right-clicked right onto the hatchery there with those Zealots, and actually they have to turn around now, realizing they're in a better spot. Blink forwards here onto the Swarmos, trying to focus as many of these down as possible with the potential damage being done to them. Very, very costly investment here for Pig, who unfortunately is going to lose quite a few. Of course, a lot of Stalkers did die, but trading off the Swarmos numbers is okay.
Losing this many Stalkers is no good, though. He lost a lot of Stalkers. He's down to 7 Stalkers right now, up against a Pig who has enough gas to get about 13 Mutas started now. Yeah, he's gonna start the Muta production here.
Uh-oh. Well,
so this is gonna be very scary.
Yeah, he really hasn't much anti-air at all. So as much as that probably wasn't Pig's game plan to have those be brought down and traded off, it's going to work out pretty well for him.
Oh, it looks like ShoWTimE wants to go for a massively strong attack here. Look at the upgrades too. Charge, extended thermal lens, and +3 are going to finish at about the same time. His army is going to be so strong. And this is also the time where, in terms of army supply, he's not far behind what Pig has. It's 79 army supply to 103 right now. So ShoWTimE, this could be very, very scary of an attack here if he stayed with his entire army and his War Prism and just reinforced with it. But he's sending the War Prism towards the main and gonna attack with the army on the right-hand side.
Oh, Muta's position to intercept that Warp Prism. There's actually 12 Corruptors in production to bring down those Colossi if they go too far forwards. And that Warp Prism is soon to be found and not destined for this world for much longer. So good move here by Pig to prepare for that.
And see what that creep achieved? It gained the vision.
Yeah.
He knew where the Warp Prism was, and all of a sudden it shuts that down, and now ShoWTimE find himself, you know, just this single army out on the map able to make something happen. But I mean, there's starting to be too many Corruptors for him to fight head-on with the Stalkers in support. So he wants to go into Storm, ideally.
All right, well, Muta's on the left-hand side. Gonna maybe try and find a bit of a harassment tool and actually bringing down the Mothership Core. Nice pick off there by Pig. And I don't really think he was expecting all these Corruptors being out at this point in time. Although that being said, you're gonna have to anticipate something like this. He's got a lot of Stalkers at the front to try and hunt kill those off quickly, but one Colossus has already fallen.
More Corruptors being made now. I wonder what Pig's plan is. Like, is he in full, you know, crisis mode right now? And is he that afraid of Colossus that he gets this many Corruptors? Or does he have a plan to go for a timing to try and snipe all of them? Or even defend if he gets attacked? This is a bit weird. Like, okay, he starts the Hive. So this may be a hint for him already thinking, you know, about taking into potentially Swarm Host.
Lucas trading off against...
Broodlord, sorry.
Yeah. Lucas trade off against the Stalker there. So any little thing that Pig can get here will count. And he's going to slowly push on forwards. The creep is actually getting pretty scary here for ShoWTimE to deal with. Those swarm hosts have moved into a very aggressive posture.
Look at the observer. If he can pick that off, it will be a great little snipe here. There's actually, that's the only observer. So now all of a sudden, there is no observer out on the map here for ShoWTimE.
He's making another one.
It makes sense, actually. This is one of the best things that you can do when you have corruptors like this, plus an overseer. You just snipe the observer and then the swarmos cannot be detected. They're gonna keep on sieging the natural. Right now, PiG, even if he loses this entire army, he can remake another one behind it. It's all about doing as much damage as he can.
Yeah, he was zoning him for a while with this army whilst those roaches were in there. And there is another observer on the way. The roaches could actually turn around and target fire that down, but he's going to move forwards with these corruptors, corrupting every single one of those colossi, bringing one down in a straight volley. And if those colossi fall, then it's going to get really, really hard for ShoWTimE here. He's made 3 observers to make sure that he can always keep an eye on these swarm hosts when he needs it.
PiG needs to realize that there's 2 observers, 3 observers on their way. Snipe them ideally, because right now he could lose all that he has. Man, those roaches in the natural.
They've gone ham. They are doing quite a bit.
They kill so many probes. 26 probes have died, Kylars.
And the Locusts keep tanking for these roaches as they move forwards on this left-hand side. ShoWTimE is in quite the predicament. He has a base up to the top left-hand corner, but whilst all this is going on, PiG's economy is going unhindered, and he's got a great Aspire on the way. So he could move back here and have a really, really powerful follow-up to all of this whilst he's done economical damage.
And I think I quite like that he's pulling back, to be honest. He's going to preserve his Swarmos count alive. Behind this, PiG made about 44 Zerglings, which definitely I think he's going to want to look to send on the left-hand side base, which has no cannon. It has no cannon at all.
Perfect. If he goes up there right now, there is a small chunk of the army actually transitioning on towards that left-hand side, but they could do quite a bit. And I don't think he even realized they were actually going there, but now he does, obviously, blinking to actually go for the defense. But he's actually targeting down the Nexus there for a second, an ambitious move, but he's going to have to get out of there.
ShoWTimE, luckily for him, was there. If he had been just a little bit further, he would have lost a lot of probes instantly and the Nexus as well. But with the Greater Spire about to finish, we're going to see Broodlords. And when you kill 34 probes of Protoss in a game like this, he's not going to have the money to go into Tempest. And if you don't go Tempest against Broodlord, well, good luck to you, because the free roll is going to be real with the Swarmos and the Broodlord.
He actually started morphing in a ton of Broodlords there and then cancelled them in that odd locations. But 11 Broodlords morphing in, that is a lot of firepower. We have 23 Stalkers and 1 Archon as the anti-air here to deal with that. It's not enough. It is absolutely not enough at the moment. ShoWTimE needs to anticipate this and needs to deal with it, because right now he has not a whole lot to deal with it.
I'm feeling a 2-0 here for PiG, Kylars. He's been playing so well. Every single timing, transition, everything. The thing is, he needs to not get too passive. The Broodlords have been spotted. And with a second Stargate on the way here, I think that's ShoWTimE. He wants to add either Void Race, or 3 more Stargates, actually. Okay, he definitely wants to get Void Race.
These Zealots on the right-hand side are going to have to buy a lot of time. This is the war march here for PiG. That army through the middle, if it just continues moving towards the Protoss base, we might have to see ShoWTimE just straight base trade at the moment. He doesn't really have the units capable of dealing with this army.
He wants to be able to buy time ideally, and he has the Mothership Core around to recall in case he had to. I mean, sniping the hatch is nice, but look at the minerals of PiG. I don't think he even cares all that much. He can just remake that, start getting some static defense everywhere, and this attack, Kylars, it's very worrying here for ShoWTimE, who's actually adding on a Colossus here rather than getting, you know, some Void Race, trying to desperately reach Tempest. He starts the Fleet Beacon, but you're about to get hit by those Broodlords, bro.
Yeah, I really think that ShoWTimE needs to buy a little bit more room here for him to really do something. The Zealots on the right-hand side, once again, are trying to even draw some of this back, do a little bit more damage to the economy lines, and he is going to go for the straight base trade. He cannot deal with these Broodlords just yet. A few more Void Rays are on the way, but if Corruptors get added to more Corruptors get added to this Broodlord composition, what's he going to do?
I mean, at this point, I don't think that ShoWTimE has any other choice than going for a base trade. I fully agree with his choice. He's going to try to eliminate PiG faster than he's going to get eliminated himself. But I feel like, unless he can kill all of the buildings, which shouldn't happen because, you know, they've been evacuated, like quite a few drones on the right-hand side are making their way out. Unless he kills all the buildings, there is no way he's going to win. Like, if these armies clash, ShoWTimE will get demolished no matter what.
Well, he's already losing quite a bit of his economy here. Is ShoWTimE. That being said, all of PiG's has pretty much vanished whilst this base trade scenario has gone on. There's a few Tempests now in production.
Yeah.
Those really need to finish, and PiG does know about the first Tempest in production here. He needs to get on top of those Stargates and really kill them off quickly.
There is a few Corruptors around, so even if they came out, he could kill them. But ideally, you want to be able to shut it down as much as possible. PiG not paying attention to his Broodlords.
And he's going to lose a few of them. They're isolated over on this right-hand side. He separated them up a little bit too much, so maybe ShoWTimE can mount some kind of comeback from this point on, as he's going to get a few of these Tempests out, but the Corruptors are on top of them in the main base, bringing them down, and without those, how is he going to kill off the remaining Broodlords? He has still 6 available to him.
Yeah.
How many Stalkers? 19.
PiG messed up a little bit, but he's still ahead. He's getting more Swarmos. He's got 3 Vipers out. He needs to pull back with the Swarmos, though. Why is he staying there?
Yeah. The 3 observers are so important there to actually finish those off.
There is actually not that many buildings left for PiG here, who loses actually some of his Vipers very carelessly here. Oh my god.
Yeah, the losing of the 5 Broodlords on the left-hand side is a big blow. It is a big blow to him. He just wants enough forces to make sure that he will win his army eventually.
The Swarmos at bottom, they are getting caught. One of those died, the other one's getting chased down by an Archon and a Stalker around the gold base.
And anything that ShoWTimE here can pick off on the very edge of a fight, even that one Swarm host is a big deal. The Swarmers just burying themselves everywhere now and trying to find a little bit of an angle.
ShoWTimE. Could he do this?
He could.
He actually spared one Swarm host. He just walked right past it.
He saved the base up to the top left, and the top base there is creating a few more gateways. I mean, maybe he needs a Cybernetics core as well as a more Stargate or 2.
I think he's just going to use his mobility. Like he's never gonna
just make a ton of Stalkers from here.
Yeah, like if PiG moves down, like attacks the base of ShoWTimE, ShoWTime's just gonna counterattack and eliminate him. So it's a very tough spot that PiG is in all of a sudden. If he had preserved all of his Broodlords and his Vipers as well, it would have been an easy win, but no. I'm starting to think that he's in a bit of trouble here.
Doesn't have anywhere near as many. That is true. Oracle actually keeping an eye on these units with Revelation is a really cool addition. Just being able to know exactly where the Broodlords and Corruptors are going to be at any time gives him so much freedom, so much room. He's going to come in from the back here. He knows the positioning of it, blinks forwards, gets himself a Swarm host, and moves on back. But for the cost of a Stalker or 2, loses the Oracle, so Revelation will not be.
Oh, he's going to counterattack. All the drones are there, by the way. If ShoWTimE goes for the base trade and kills those 2 hatcheries, he's gonna have won the game. These are the last few buildings, as well as a few extractors out on the map. But remember, he can warp in a few zealots and dispatch them to kill those.
Yeah, he has a pylon down to the bottom. You're right.
I can't believe that PiG's going for the kill. This is such a bold move. He knows that he's most likely going to be counterattacked, and he's not even evacuating his natural, or I guess his main base, we can call it, with any single drone right now.
ShoWTimE might come in from the back here against these Broodlords, but at the same time, there are Locusts there that can slowly trickle down and kill off a little bit of this Gateway army.
Oh, and he's getting more Templars now. ShoWTimE only had one single Templar here not too long ago, but right now he's adding on a few ones. He's getting Archons as well to tank these Locusts and Broodlings. And he might just have
there goes the blink, there goes the blink. He tries to go before more Locusts are going to spawn, but that's a lot of Broodlings. He's down to 16 Stalkers now. There is one Void Ray mixed in with a few more Archons coming along. Maybe the Archons can make the difference. Maybe they can break through. But one's going to fall. One is going to fall very close.
ShoWTimE is trying to buy some time here to be able to warp in more units to defend against this. And right now, in terms of army supply, we have 100 against 82. It's all going to be about being as cost-effective as possible.
Yeah. PiG's trying to slowly break him down.
Whoever loses patience and fights in a too much of a hasty way is going to lose, I think. And I think it's better for ShoWTimE, to be honest, to play the counter-attack like this. He's finally going to do it, catching most of these drones. Not a single one of them will escape, I think.
Yeah, getting those. The thing is if he goes into that top right-hand corner, he's kind of trapped. He doesn't have a mothership core with this army. Cybernetics core is just finished up. The Corruptors do not want to be going
he gets
too
all the drones. This is it. PiG cannot escape anymore. He has 11 drones left, but most of those are on his natural.
And on the map, I guess not at this situation.
No, he doesn't even have lava anywhere.
But again, if ShoWTimE goes up here, he's pretty much trapped.
Yeah, he's going to kill him before.
But this wasn't the 2 oh no, he killed the 2 extractors down to the bottom.
Yeah.
He has no more building. These are the only buildings.
ShoWTimE, though, does not know that, so he chooses to fight.
Yeah, gonna go for the engagement here, trying to kill off some of these Corruptors. Blinks forwards, and these Broodlords are vulnerable once again. ShoWTimE brings down a lot of the firepower here that we're seeing from him, and how much... He actually doesn't have any more observers. He needs to do splash damage. He doesn't have observers. How is he going to deal with this? He's actually, the Colossi are doing a bit of damage to them with the Locust popping. And there you go, GG, well played. He's able to win in that situation, a desperate situation, even for both players. But ShoWTimE ties up the series. Wow, that was quite the adventure.
Fully exploiting the lack of mobility of an army of Broodlord and Swarmhost. That's why when you go for this kind of army, you get a lot of static defense, and PiG here. This was almost a 2-0, Kailaris.
Yeah.
I really thought he was going to win that. But, you know, he went for the timing. Like, he played this beautifully, really. Like, he went for the timing he had to go for, but too short on static defense and didn't anticipate that ShoWTimE was going to go for the base trade. And in the end, his crisis management wasn't that great, to be honest. You know, he evacuated one of the bases with a lot of drones. Didn't start taking, you know, a lot of bases in the middle of the map. He had the stronger army, too. Like, he started losing, like, he lost, like, what, 4 Broodlords on the left-hand side. 2 of the Vipers out of 3 got caught. Some of the Swarmos that he was remaking behind got caught and killed. Like, you can't have that happen and then win, you know, one of those games where it all comes down to, you know, even the slightest amount of units.
I think if it had gone straight away when the Broodlords morphed, maybe PiG would have had a better time. He was a bit hesitant about it in the middle of the map, and of course they are slow, so you have to be a bit careful.
Yeah.
And the Zealots on the right-hand side were put him in a bit of an hesitant mood in general, but still, it was a very powerful army.
Yeah.
Very powerful army. That's the weakness of Broodlords, though. You just dance around them.
Static defense and Vipers, though, definitely the biggest mistake, I think. Like, 3 Vipers here would have helped so much. He would have been able to abduct. There was only, I think, 1 Templar left alive at the time after, you know, the base trade even kind of got into it. So a few mistakes here and there are going to cost the game for PiG, but I hope for him he forgets ASAP about this one, because now it's all going to be about deadwing.
Yeah.
Best of 1, Kailaris.
Best of 1.
I've always thought this is so silly, people who say that, but then now I'm like the one saying it.
Yeah, it is silly. I'm going to go with it and say it is silly. Sorry, Todd.
It's okay.
But losing those 5 Broodlords on the left-hand side for me is another big factor there on that game number 2. But anyway, game number 3 is going to be on Deadwing between PiG and ShoWTimE. A really cool series so far. Really diverse 2 games to start things off. And now we head on to one of the biggest maps here in the map pool to figure things out between PiG and ShoWTimE. I made that sound like a counseling issue, but obviously they're just locked in war, Todd. They're just locked in war. All right, let's get into it. Game number 3 here in Group B between PiG and ShoWTimE here in the series number 4 of the day between our Australian and our German. Spawning up to the top left is our blue Zerg. Representing Exile 5, it is PiG. Still, you know, he looked good in the game 2. Looked good in game 2, however, he was not able to prevail against this man down to the bottom right. Cross positions here on Deadwing. Representing alternate attacks, it is ShoWTimE.
ShoWTimE with not only a pylon down the ramp, but a very quick scout. So there is a chance he might want to go for something like a cannon rush here. There is also a chance he just wants to be safe. You know, it's 1-1. You don't want to go out up against a cheese in the last game and, you know, just lose right out. He's actually scouted quite a bit early on. And by that, I mean, in the first 2 games, he opened Gateway 13 both times and scouted right after it, which is not always necessary. Like, you do that against Zergs that you think might cheese sometimes. So this might be the image that he has of PiG, but no, look. This is for a Forge.
Here comes the Forge. So ShoWTimE looking to mix it up here as well, with PiG going for expansion first. And this could get messy.
The thing about PiG is that he's known to go a lot for double hatch 10 pull. For the longest time, he was doing that a lot. So ShoWTimE going for this, you know, is basically saying, well, if you go for that, I'm going to have a good opportunity to do this to you and punish you. But PiG, one of the very good things he's done already in the previous game was that he scouted for this. Too little too late, though.
Oh, dear me. Well, that is locked in for a long time here. And ShoWTimE is going to be more than happy to exploit this location as PiG is kind of up against it.
the show must go on.
Oh, he's going to
and
force
you're
that
going to
probe out.
expand elsewhere.
Yeah, he's going to force the probe out with that cannon being finished. So cheeky little move there by ShoWTimE, even getting the probe out to go and threaten the third location if he wants to.
Usually, like, one of the important rules of cannon rush is that you don't cannon rush more than one base. Then again, I've seen, you know, SOS is a rule breaker, and like some of these guys, and I've seen them cannon rush more than one base. But I think, like, at this point, the best thing that you can do here at ShoWTimE is, you know, start a Nexus, then start a gate and tech normally.
Well, with the second probe
as
out
I
here,
say that.
yeah, and also that cannon in between this choke, the second one is so important because units now can't get past without taking severe damage.
Yeah, the thing is...
It's just going to keep going, man.
Pig, though, like, he's not... He doesn't seem to ever be saying that he was going to go for gases and go for only. He seems to think that he's going to be able to hold with Zerglings and most likely Queens. So he's getting 6 Zerglings in the main. They're going to finish at about the same time. I think he's going to run past that cannon, lose 1 or 2 Zergling, and then still have 4 to fight against that other cannon that's at his... I don't even know what to call it. Usually third base.
Usually, yeah. Third base location, whatever you want to go for. Those Lings now on the left-hand side. They might start working on the rocks and try and bust out there and go for a counter, but it looks like they're just going to run on past.
Yeah.
Loses 1
It's just
Ling.
too early, actually.
3 Lings.
He should have waited for Lynx and a Queen to be up at that base that just came out.
And the Lings were even scouting around
He's
the
just
third
going to
base.
give that one up as well. He's taking 2 more bases.
Yeah, ShoWTimE doesn't realize that base is on the left-hand side and another base for Pig, so... Okay, this is kind of crazy.
Like an arm wrestle where both guys just won't let go, man. It's like the entire map is going to have like stains of creep and cannons.
Just hatcheries, dead hatcheries everywhere, cancelled hatcheries. This is interesting, and there's not even been a Nexus started behind all of this just yet for him. He finally will begin it, but...
It could have been very, very risky, actually, to go for Nexus just because he's delayed his gateway tech so much. So going for gateway then Nexus is going to allow him to start, you know, double gases now and then go quickly into Cybercore. In which case, you know, you tech much faster than if you go for Nexus first. And you know, you can die to a lot of things if you do that.
Well, that hatchery falls, and now there's 2 on the left-hand side. ShoWTimE has to be a little bit wary of what is actually going on. Like, of course, there is the potential for... Oh, okay, so he sees the one on the left-hand side, doesn't see this one up on the high ground, though. This series as a whole has been very, very interesting. Back and forth and crazy strategies.
It's been special, that's for sure.
Special. That's one way to refer to it.
I think Pig is just going to make 5 roaches and explain to ShoWTimE why you don't cannon rush a Zerg.
Yeah, maybe. There's plenty of drones on the way, double gas being taken, and that will push his tech forwards quite rapidly now that they are finished up. There's the Roach Warren Todd. He's not going to be expecting this many roaches to come from the angle that they're going to be coming from.
I think Pig, ideally here, he just wants to, you know, drone up, go into a longer game, just get enough roaches to kill those cannons. Like, going for a lot of roaches, not only will reveal them while killing the cannons, but I don't think it will be successful with an attack. The thing is, since he's being forced into roaches, that's also going to help him when he gets hit later on by the pressure that I think ShoWTimE is going to go for, because he went for the Forge early on. He's going to use that for the +1, and I think he's just going to add some gateways, but he's taking a quick third base as well with it. Even skipping on the gases on natural.
Maybe a reactionary move to seeing that third base up to the top left and realizing that, hey, Pig was really, really adamant about having this many hatcheries this early on, so maybe he does want to play it out.
So this cannon rush, I really don't think it has worked wonders for ShoWTimE. Like, he's on 38 probes against 44 drones.
It's caused disruption. It's
I mean, in the placement of those bases, but if you don't exploit that by going for a follow-up all-in or attack, it kind of becomes irrelevant, because then Zerg can just expand. Like, he could just take his natural,
and then they're more well defended compared to the other ones that have already mined more.
Exactly.
So roaches are on the way. They're going to start cleaning up these locations slowly, unless he wants to just break down the box and just go for it across the map. Actually, with 2 more overlords on the way, he could just continue on and produce huge amounts and just go. Still more overlords, but drones get added on as well.
I wonder what Pig's choice here in terms of, you know, units after roaches is going to be. Does he want to go into Hydralisk to make sure he can hold some kind of gateway attack? Does he gamble a little bit and try to go for a Spire off of pure Roach and Zergling? He has quite a few choices, and like, whichever one he takes, he's going to be taking a chance, you know, a little bit.
Well, ShoWTimE's going up to a few more extra gateways, +1, and then the transition into +2 is going to time out okay with how the Twilight Council's on the way. It's a few seconds behind all of that, but at least he's hunkered down now on these 3 bases is ShoWTimE, with force fields at the front to be able to help out.
What's ShoWTimE's plan here?
Yeah.
He's going to go into +2 and blink.
He's going to lose a lot of free pylons back here, so he needs to make sure that he's not going to get supply blocks. I don't think he will with the 71 to 100 supply that he's got, but replenishing those is a little bit costly.
Yeah, and look, PiG is going to take the natural, if we can even call it that. He's going to take a 4th base.
4th base, yeah. Perfect location for that.
Infestation pits.
All right.
Time for the cache host.
The cache host. It's like a game show host, man. That's a bit strange, but this is something that is interesting in cross positions because it does take quite a while to get over there and actually do something about it. But Spire starts right after the infestation pit has been scouted.
Yeah, so he wants to keep his options open. Like PiG doesn't have to make a decision now and then go for something that he may regret later on. He can just throw down the stack buildings. Ideally, you want to be able to send an overseer across the map, see exactly what your opponent has and wants to go into, and then you can adjust from there. But right now, he did just that, I guess, because there is a changeling. And he saw the gateways being added on, actually, that one changeling. So right now, PiG knows that this is going to be a lot of Blink Stalkers, and his answer for that, for now, much like in the previous game, is going to be quite a few Swarm hosts.
It's starting to work on the back rocks as well, down to the bottom left, which will open up a small path towards all of this. ShoWTimE will know about what's going on thanks to that Twilight Council, but he already spots even the pylon up to the top right for that +2 blink aggression coming down the map.
And ShoWTimE fully knowing that this is going to be, or most likely going to be Swarm host. He gets a second Robo, he gets a Robo Bay. His +2 and blink is about to finish. I fully expect +3 and charge to start, very quickly behind this. He's just going to want to go into a standard game. That's what he's really good at. But at the same time, back at home, knock, knock. A bunch of roaches are about to move in, and ShoWTimE is not ready.
Yeah.
He's going to have some force fields that are going to buy him time, but actually,
ooh, well cut down there. Actually keeping those guys out. He loses one of the sentries. The Swarmers are going to reposition themselves.
He might have to recall.
Yeah, he may do, but also he has a good opportunity to put on some aggression with this army. So if he warps in more sentries, he blocks them off again.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get that base, which is definitely nice. Actually, he could stay out on the map now.
What a crazy game. Put down some force fields behind you, stop the Swarm host from getting on there as easily as possible, and throwing down some in the front to put on aggression against this. It's basically his natural base as all the game flow has been going on here. The Roaches are going to push forwards, but that's a lot of Stalkers available to ShoWTimE for the defense, and this aggression has been very, very worth it.
Yeah, in the end, this counter-attack here by PiG not doing nearly enough. While at home, he loses 2 of his hatcheries. He's trying to retake another now, but
he's going to lose this one if he's not careful.
Oh my God.
There's not that many force fields left. Those are some of the only ones that he has continuing on. Maybe just a sprinkling more to keep him locked down as he tries to put on pressure at this third base. If he got the hatchery and recalled out, then this is just absolutely priceless here for ShoWTimE.
There isn't even that many units. There is just 3 roaches, quite a few Zerglings on the way.
Drones get pulled off the line to combat against this. He knows he cannot lose that hatchery, and yeah, the recall out. He's already done significant damage here against PiG on the other side of the map.
That was so much damage. 13 drones were killed just now. 2 very important hatcheries as well. Another one has been injured. He couldn't even finish that later, possibly. And now all of a sudden, ShoWTimE is going to be, on some pretty big Colossus production with the second Robo finishing. Maybe one of those got sniped. I thought he already had 2. He's getting some cannons at the third base, getting ready for any kind of counterattack that could hit him. And his army is going to be so scary. Against the Zergon Lair, I've said this many times in the past. A Zergon Lair on tier 2 units, you max out on Colossus and Blinkstalkers, you've won the game. That's simple. The closer you get to maxing out, the more you're going to have won the game.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, especially with +3 starting. Of course, this is like ShoWTimE just planning for the future, which may not even come to fruition here, as the Zealots are already on this spire. Stalkers are threatening on this left-hand side as well. If that hatchery falls, as I said before, it's a really, really bad situation for him. But the spire's going to end up going down. That will stop any more production. Once these Colossi pop, if he doesn't have a spire, what's he going to do against this, Todd?
Yeah, PiG is really struggling. I mean, even as long as he doesn't have 5, and right now it looks like he's even losing the Infestation Pit, the Greater Spire. Pig is in so much trouble. ShoWTimE's not going to slow down anytime soon as well.
Oh, ShoWTimE has played this game out beautifully, from the cannon rush to just actually continuing on the pressure left and right. The Swarmos are going to be very vulnerable as well. I wonder if he hasn't actually observer with that. Yes, he does, bringing all of these down, locking any units out from the help completely. And even the Queen trying to throw down a transfuse, but it's not going to help out at all in the end. GG, well played. ShoWTimE takes the series 2-1. A brilliant recovery from him throughout this series, and then game number 3 was pretty masterful there.
Pig put up a good fight, but sadly, you know, few mistakes too many. And I guess ShoWTimE, well, Snoot will get his rematch against ShoWTimE eventually, because he's faced him before and struggled a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. In the Fragbite Masters, obviously, we saw that ShoWTimE versus Snoot game twice, in fact, during that Fragbite Masters tournament. But that does it from us here at the desk. Let's head over to our winner, ShoWTimE, at the stage with Smix.
Thank you very much. ShoWTimE, congratulations. That was a very nail-biting series after starting with a loss in the first game. You lost to a proxy hatchery, and I looked at your face, and you just didn't look happy at all. What was going through your head during that time?
Yeah, I mean, I scouted his drone, or his drone was scouting me, and he went back really early. So I was kind of confused what the drone was about, but I didn't get it, that he would proxy hatch me. So yeah, that made me kind of mad, I have to say.
Well, after losing that first game, game 2 was not looking good for you at all. It almost looked like you were going to lose 2-0, and somehow it turned into a crazy base trade. How were you able to turn that game around?
I don't know really, to be honest. Like, I think I wasn't in a very good position, but the base trades brought me back into the game. Yeah, I think if he just stayed defensive, it would be much better for him, and just make more Swarmos instead of Brute Lords. Yeah.
Well, your next opponent is going to be Snoot, and when I interviewed him earlier, he talked about having faced you earlier a few weeks ago, and he lost there, and he said his condition wasn't so good, but he's looking forward to possibly playing you again. He thinks it'll be really good games. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I hope it will be better games than at Fragbite, because I think he was kind of out of shape there, and also at Katowice, so yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, well, congratulations again on your 2-1 victory, and good luck tomorrow against Snoot. We're going to head back to the desk with Apollo.
Thank you very much, Smix, and congratulations to ShoWTimE, who joins Snoot through to day 2. We'll play again tomorrow and play in that winners match to hopefully fight for day 3. Just one single game, of course. That does not mean that Pig or Maxed from this group are out yet. They also have another game tomorrow, but they must fight from the lower bracket. We'll come back to that in a little bit, but let's talk about this series that we've just gone through, as you can see on screen. Snoot, ShoWTimE up there at the top, Pig and Maxed, and they will, as mentioned, play tomorrow. So we finished with Group B. Guys, thoughts on that series we just watched, Pig versus ShoWTimE?
That was... Go ahead, after you.
That was a painful game, or series for Australian fans. Pig had the momentum there. He took that first game out with a really unorthodox strategy. He came into the second game, and he had the Swarmers going. He was crushing everything, and it looked like he was going to win. Everyone was getting really excited from the Australian side of the world. And then ShoWTimE forces a really unorthodox base trade, and Pig falls apart. ShoWTimE just goes clutch out of nowhere.
Roddy?
Really wild series. Like, I think if you look at the bracket now, this is the winners match that most people would have predicted, Snoot versus ShoWTimE, but it definitely didn't come easy. Like, Snoot almost died against Maxed, and this last series was a really wild series, especially game 2. The reason why Swarmos normally is so good on overgrowth, and still is because you can't really avoid the army, but ShoWTimE found ways to avoid the army. I think Pig made it a little easier on him by playing like first Mutalisk and then going for Brute Lords. Like, obviously that is an extremely scary army to fight. Well, you know, the most beautiful thing about Protoss is that you don't have to fight it. You can just run around the map and use recall a couple of times. Still an extremely well played game by ShoWTimE, because almost the entire map was covered in creeps, so there was nothing that he could truly do that would catch his opponent off guard, which is why overgrowth is so hard late game. But he somehow find a way. Of course, you know, if you want to be really critical, you can say like, well, he should have just made more static defenses and play only Swarmos and Swarmos Viper Corruptor. But you know, the way what Pig did was not necessarily wrong. It was just that ShoWTimE played phenomenally to somehow turn that game around.
You think ShoWTimE can go through first place here when he goes up against Snoot tomorrow?
I mean, based on the games that he's played against him before, I know that they've both mentioned, and I kind of thought it was cool at ShoWTimE's, like, I'd rather play against a fully prepared Snoot rather than the one I played at Fragbite. But all things considered, ShoWTimE's also shown really strong PvZ in this series, especially considering that we did see a bit of Swarmhost play. So I like ShoWTimE's chances for getting out in first place.
All right, well, thank you very much, guys. We've now finished with this group and we're going to be moving on to the next one. It's time for Group C, and our opening game is going to be Pult, Captain America, versus Firecake, the only French player in the top 16. We'll be right back.